Good morning, Shabbat. Today is Sunday, a beautiful Sunday morning, the second day of Iyar. We are on page 104, and we begin chapter Mem Daled, chapter Perek Mem Daled, chapter 44 in Tanya. Let's give you a quick overview of chapter 44, in keeping with Tanya's mission statement of making love of Hashem an achievable goal for every Yid. Remember that Alter Rebbe said it's very near that you could do it. So he's trying to give you eitzes. He's trying to give you ideas, tools, methods in order to love Hashem, which on the outset we would say is seemingly impossible. But once he starts breaking it down and giving us some guidance, we see that it is possible. So he says there are two types of love discussed. One is a craving for Hashem as one craves their own life. For Hashem is our life. And two, selfless love as in a child-parent relationship. Whatever the parent asks, we'll do. In today's lesson, even though there are various degrees of love, and not every person can achieve every degree, there is a specific love that is found equally in every Jew, which is a constant love towards Hashem from knowing that He is our life force. Okay. If there's somebody that always takes care of you, nurtures you, you would have an appreciation for him and a love. In the previous chapter, the Alter Rebbe explains that there are two categories: the higher level of love, avos, avarabba, and avos olam, the lower level of love. And he'll explain more. Mihine kol madregas ahava mibeis madregas elu. Each of these two levels of ahava rabba, the avos olam nechlekes the common bechinas madregas linkates kol chalafum shiura delay. In these two categories of Ava Rabba, which is great intense love, and Avas Olam, enduring love, there are many different categories within each of them. The Zohar says on the verse, her husband is known in the gates. This is an Eishes Chaya that we read every Friday night. Sha'ed belibe chulu. This refers to Hashem, the Holy One, blessed be He, so called since He is the husband of the Bnei Yisrael, so to speak, makes Himself known and attaches Himself to everyone according to the extent which one measures in one's heart. So those two individuals may have the same general love of Hashem, yet their particular individual levels of love will differ based on their level of understanding, based on their emotional capacity, or whatever it might be. Therefore, fear and love are called the secret things known to Hashem. For people cannot know the varying degrees of love of Hashem harbored in the hearts of others. You barely know you barely know the level of love that's inside of yourself. How are you going to know what level of love is in somebody else? It's very, what's the word? Objective. The Torah mitzvahs are those things which are revealed to us and to our children to do. They're found in all Jews equally. Everybody has to do the same mitzvah of tefillin with the same black square box. This one, you just because you're more wealthier, you can't buy a gold pair of tefillin. But love, how do you quantify the amount of love that I have versus what he has, or he has versus she has? When it comes to mitzvahs, we have the same Torah and the same law and the same fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs in actual performance. All Jews perform the mitzvahs, relatively speaking, in the same manner. The greatest Jew and the smallest both put on the same pair of tefillin. Is otherwise, but it's very different when it comes to love and fear, which vary according to the knowledge of Hashem in the mind and the heart. How much emotion are you going to put into loving Hashem? Here, we're not equal. He who has knowledge of Hashem and His greatness will experience a love and a fear of Hashem to a greater degree than one that puts in less effort and has less knowledge. Makes sense, right? So the Alter Rebbe now goes on to explain that in the previous chapter, spoke about Ahava Rabba, which cannot be contained alone, while Avas Olam can be. Now he goes on to explain that there's a manner of love of Hashem which incorporates the qualities of both Ahava Rabba and Avas Olam both at the same time. It has the qualities of the former, since comes from above and exists in the soul of every Jew in the form of an inheritance from our patriarchs. However, in order for this love to be revealed, it's necessary for the individual to contemplate and comprehend godliness, as is the case with Ahavas Olam, which is revealed through man's service. Achas hi ahava klula mikol b'chinas hamadregas. Ahava Rabba of Ahavas Olam ishava l'chol nefesh miYisrael Yerushalayim Avosenu. There's one unique, singular love which incorporates something of all the distinctions and gradations of both Ahava Rabba and Ahavas Olam, and is found equally in every single Jew as an inheritance from our patriarchs, as we just explained. V'hainu, mashakaso v'zayir ala pasuk nafshi v'sicha b'layla. The Zohar says on the pasuk, "My soul, I desire you at night." The Zohar notes that this verse should either say, "My soul desires you," or it should say, "I desire you." Why does it say, "My soul, I desire you at night"? It's the way it's written is a little bit funny. The Zohar explains that my soul refers to Hashem, the soul of all beings. In effect, the Jew says to Hashem, "You are my soul, and therefore I desire you." The Zohar continues and goes on, and it says, "Yarchim lekutsha v'richu richimusa denafsha v'rucha kama isdabku ilain v'gufa rachin loin." This is, of course, Aramaic from the Holy Kabbalah. One should love Hashem with a love of the soul and the spirit as they are attached to the body, and the body loves them. Just as a person loves himself and cherishes his life, God's the soul, God's the life of you. Nafshi, my soul I desire, which means since you, Hashem, are my true soul and life, therefore I desire you. This means to say, Hashem, Nafshi v'chai ha'amiti v'kachi v'sicha. Perush, shani misave v'soyev l'cha ka'adam ha'misave v'chai nafshoi Shu chalosh u'me'uneh misave v'soyev shetoshev nafshei love. That's to say, I long and I yearn for you like a man who craves the life of his soul, and when he's weak and exhausted, he longs and yearns for his soul to revive in him, meaning to return to him. If a person's desperately weak and hungry and exhausted, he yearns for, he's going to look for any way to reinvigorate himself, and I'll ask Hashem, I need, he'll strive to be revived. So the pleasure of living is the greatest pleasure of all, and man will forgo all manner of pleasure in order to stay alive. Nevertheless, we do not feel the pleasure of simply being alive, because a constant pleasure is not felt to be pleasurable. However, when a person is weak and tired, and his life force is not manifest as it should be, then he feels the desire to live and sense the pleasure of simply being alive. Sadly, some of the hostages that came out, they said, well, we wouldn't give for a cup of water, or we wouldn't give for a meal, like some food. We were starving. On a fast day, I know, like Tisha B'Av, all you want is just a drink. That's all you like. You're just thinking of just a sip of water. That's all I want. But if you had plenty of water all the time, you wouldn't find the pleasure of many ways. When you're weak and down and out, and you need that revival, that's when you'll forego anything else. I'll pay anything it takes. Just give me a drink of water. When a person goes to sleep, when a person goes to sleep, by which time his life force is in a state of concealment. For sleep is 1/60th of death. Completely unconscious. He's sleeping, he's out. He longs and yearns for his soul to be restored within him when he awakes from his sleep. If not, he wouldn't wake up. And that's why we say Maidani, thanking Hashem for restoring my soul within me. And so do I long and yearn to draw within me the infinite light of Hashem, the neshama, the light of true life, through engaging in the study of Torah when I awaken during the night from my sleep. For the Torah and Hashem are one. Meshekosov, as there Sham, as the Zohar, the Kabbalah says there, the boy Barnash, Richimusa, the Kutshabrichu, Lemeka Mechol Leila, the Ishtadla, V'Folchone Ad Tzafra, sorry. So the Zohar says, out of love for the Holy One, blessed be, a man should rise each night and exert himself in his service until the morning. Which means wake up, like Chatzai Salayla, in the middle of the night, and cry out to Hashem, connect to Hashem. So this then is the love expressed in the phrase, my soul, I desire you. The innate love that a Jew feels when he realizes that Hashem is his true soul and his source of life. This love must be revealed by pondering deeply and often how Hashem is the source of life, as we will explain further in this chapter tomorrow and on. Takeaway for today's contemplation: to develop love for Hashem. The Alter Rebbe says it's easy. What do we got to do? So he said that you, Hashem, are my life. Everybody values and cherishes their life. They want to stay alive, no matter what. What happens on the plane if you have children next to you? When God forbid there's a lack of air pressure or oxygen, so the airbags, the oxygen masks come down, and the first thing you have to do is put it on yourself, and you have to help others, right? Because without being alive, you can't do anything to help anybody else. So you care about yourself, and then you realize that Hashem is your true life. When I'm weak, I want to be energized. That means I want you. You give me energy, Hashem. When I go to sleep, I want to wake up in the morning. I want you to return my soul within me. You are my life. You give me that ability to be alive in this world. Okay, Shabbat, that's it for today. Contemplate that, and we'll see you tomorrow.